Morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well and in high spirits. Today, I want to share some things about intelligence that I believe, and I've heard it elsewhere. One is that there's three categories of intelligence. One is very low intelligence, where you really can't teach those people anything. And I've seen a comment in on YouTube to the effect that you really expect to teach these folks something. You can't. And I've seen a herding instinct where you really will struggle greatly to penetrate that willful ignorance. It's willful. They want to be ignorant. The next step is people that you can teach something to. You can show them something they can see for themselves because you taught them, well, not for themselves, but you can teach them to see either the error of their ways, a better way, or how to do something they haven't done before. Those are learned people. The third level of intelligence is those who can imagine things they've never been taught. Those who can do things by figuring out how to do them actually better than was done on their own. And that is supposedly the greatest kind of mind. Separate from that, I believe it was this German philosopher, Oppenheimer, something like that, that said, a learned man does not equal an independent thinker. Now that means that you can have a degree from Harvard, from Yale, Purdue, any Ivy League, MIT, any UC, and that doesn't mean your mind is greater than someone who never went to school but can see things they've never been taught. See, some of those people that went to school, they can only see what they've been taught, and thus they can only repeat what's already existed in the world. The folks who can see things that others don't, they're bringing new things into the world, pushing us forward. And me personally, I believe that some of these things are a choice and some are not. But you have to do your work to figure out where you fit in some ways. Because the more you learn, that will give you opportunities to see other things that maybe the learned folks haven't already. And so you got to work at it as well. But for the sake of this video, I'll stick to the middle group, the ones that can learn something. And within that group, there's probably a wide range of intelligence. Some folks are closer to the group you can't teach anything to. They can learn a little bit of stuff. Others can learn a lot of stuff and take it further than what they've been taught. And along those lines, I've also seen folks act elitist because they know a big word or two. And oftentimes I see them use words out of context. You know, they're using these big words and they don't even know how they're using them. And I've done that on times when I'm not thinking and speaking quickly, so there is some accounting for that. I'm not a fan of grammar police, etc. But I do believe that the greater your vocabulary, the better you can explain your thoughts and what you're thinking to others, so that there's less room for misunderstanding. Because when there's understanding, there's forgiveness, there's progress, there's work there. Even if you don't agree on something, but you understand why and what the differences are, then you can focus on that. So understanding is important. And as part of that, again, I think developing a good vocabulary will help you be better understood. It will help you build bridges. Now, I've also seen folks talk about thesauruses and dictionaries, and that's how they learn new words, and that might be what works for them. That would be kind of boring for me. So what I do is I try to read books that are of interest to me already because of the subject matter, and then look for books that will broaden my vocabulary and maybe my eloquence. There's two people that come from black and brown communities that I really look up to insofar as their writing. It's poetic, it's eloquent. I do buy books because of the content, the genre. You know, I read a lot of true crime books that are written more like news articles. And then there's other authors that can paint beautiful pictures with their words. And one of them is my new reading material, Death Wish by Iceberg Slim. Now, when you think of rappers, some of the most successful ones, Too Short, for example, often talk about Iceberg Slim. And if you've read an Iceberg Slim book, you know that he is incredibly poetic and eloquent, and likely using a bunch of sophisticated words, not often used words, words belonging to academia for the most part, in his stories. So you will learn those. He also uses street slang from the 40s, the 50s, stuff I've never heard before, and it's incredibly colorful. You know, a guy wearing diamonds is sporting frozen fireworks. It's just amazing reading. But if you get offended by a rapper in a sombrero, you know, saying Mexican women are beautiful, then maybe you shouldn't read this. Because in the first 2 pages, there's these mobsters from the outfit in Chicago with a Mexican girl in the trunk. And one of them makes a comment that he respects his prick too much to ever get with a chili gut. And as I was reading this, I had a belly full of chili myself from dinner the night before. I didn't get offended. He's just painting a picture of society as it was at that time and how people felt. And even if he felt that way, it would be good for me to know just how society saw things back then. From the brown side of the aisle, if you will, or from the brown community, Luis Rodriguez, Always Running, was an amazing book. And then I bought other books that were a collection of short stories. I had a friend, you know, she was pretty sophisticated and, you know, polished and had this high-level job. That motherfucker stole my books. You know, I let her read them. We would trade books, and she never gave them back. Said she lost them. So anyways, I do plan to buy more Luis Rodriguez books. And if you want to broaden your vocabulary, you want to grow your mind, you want to exercise it, I encourage you to buy a Luis Rodriguez book or an Iceberg Slim book. And you will be taken to whole nother worlds through amazing literature that will grow your vocabulary, that will make you a better speaker. That's how I think I've developed my my vocabulary, my speaking skills, my writing skills. It's from seeing other people's work and immersing myself in it over and over and over. The more books you read, the better you will communicate, the more bridges you can build to different communities and societies and what have you. You know, we all live on the same world, but sometimes you could walk 2 blocks and be in 2 different worlds. And I think reading helps you go to any world you want, including, you know, the roughest and toughest spots, because you'll learn about them. So anyways, that's my video for today. I encourage you guys to read more. If you like reading about hood shit, Iceberg Slim, Luis Rodriguez, 2 excellent examples of literature providing people from our communities. And then to the first part of it, you know, try to see where you fit in. See if you can innovate and pioneer, or, you know, at least learn new things that will help you grow and be a benefit to your family. And again, not if you're sensitive, man, because with a belly full of chili, I heard these motherfuckers talking shit about Mexicans by calling them chili guts. And you know, it is what it is. That's how they talked about them. I don't refer to people in names, and that's actually irrelevant. It's a book, it's a story. They're telling you how it was. You learn about society, you learn new words, and you grow that way. Much love. Have a good one. Hope you have a wonderful Thursday.